Hello, and welcome to the video. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you are all having a fantastic day. Today we're focusing on the Macho King, Randy Savage. So we can start off where we left off. Hulk Hogan had just defeated Randy to end his 371-day reign as the WWF World Heavyweight Champion after they had a big falling out over Savage's jealousy concerning Hogan and Miss Elizabeth. At the end of April, Savage replaced his manager with former WWF Women's Champion Sensational Sherri. Randy would team up with the unstoppable human wrecking machine Zeus for a main event at the August 28, 1989 SummerSlam event. They would be up against Hogan and Beefcake, but lost when Hogan hit Zeus with Sherri's loaded purse before body slamming Zeus and dropping the big leg on him and pinning him for the 3. Savage and Zeus would demand a rematch, which Hogan and Beefcake accepted, but with one stipulation, that they were inside a steel cage. Hogan and Beefcake would again get the win on the December 27, 1989 no-holds-barred event. In September 1989, King Hacksaw would lose and drop the moniker King to Savage, where he would carry the gimmick with all the flamboyance that we all knew him for. Around this time, he and Hogan would have one more match to end their one-year feud, where Hogan would put his title on the line at the main event on February 23, 1990. Buster Douglas would be the special guest referee, where he'd done a fast count on Savage. This infuriated Savage, so he danced around the ring and then slapped the newly crowned heavyweight boxing champion of the world in the face. Douglas would proceed to punch Randy in the face and flooring him, getting a massive pop from the crowd. After he finished with Hogan, Savage would move on to have a feud with Dusty Rhodes, where they would have a mixed match where Savage would have his new manager Sherri and Dusty would have his new partner Sapphire at WrestleMania 6 on April 1, 1990. Rhodes and Sapphire would win this match, but Randy would get his revenge with a win at SummerSlam to end the feud. Savage would go on to have a feud with the Ultimate Warrior, who had just beaten Hulk Hogan clean in the middle of the ring for his heavyweight championship title. Warrior was refusing to have a match with Savage for the title, providing he was still the champion after the Warrior defended it to Sergeant Slaughter. Even though Sergeant Slaughter promised to give Savage a shot if he was to win against the Ultimate Warrior. It's a bit messy, this one, but still entertaining as hell. Before the Warrior v Slaughter match, Savage sent Sherri out to talk to the Warrior before he was set to face Slaughter. She intended to use sexual innuendo to persuade Warrior to change his mind, but this did not work and it infuriated Savage. He was so mad at this point that he waited until the Warrior v Slaughter match had started and went out and smashed his scepter over Warrior's head, causing the glass head of the scepter to smash everywhere, which allowed Slaughter to take the win, crowning him champion in the process. Warrior would finally get his hands on Savage when they both put their wrestling careers on the line at WrestleMania 7 on March 24, 1991. Savage lost this match, which was one of his greatest ever matches he ever had, meaning he would have to retire. This caused Sherri to lose her mind and she started beating on him until Miss Elizabeth, who was in the crowd watching, came to the rescue. She managed to run Sherri off, leading to Savage reuniting with Miss Elizabeth. This got a massive response from the crowd, turning Randy back into a baby face for the first time in nearly 3 years. Even though he was now in retirement, the story would continue as Randy and Miss Elizabeth would be in SummerSlam in August of 1991 as they were to get married. It was dubbed as the match made in heaven, to go along with the match made in hell main event later that evening. Later that evening, as the newlyweds were opening their gifts, a snake was inside one of the boxes, causing Miss Elizabeth to jump and scream as The Undertaker blindsided Savage, knocking him clean out with the urn to the side of the head. Jake the Snake was also there, threatening Miss Elizabeth with the snake that he pulled from the box. Sid Justice ran them off as he came to the rescue. Because Savage was retired, he couldn't do anything about it, so he began a public campaign to get himself reinstated as an active wrestler so he can get revenge on Jake. However, WWF President Jack Tunney declined the request. During the filming of an episode of WWF Superstars of Wrestling on November 23rd, Roberts delivered a promo in the ring to provoke Savage. Once Savage was enticed into the ring, Roberts launched an attack, ultimately restraining Savage with the ropes and then exposing him to a live King Cobra, which bit his arm. According to Hulk Hogan and Jake Roberts on the Pick Your Poison DVD, the snake had a firm grip with its fangs and it was challenging for Jake to remove it from Randy. With support from the fans, Tunney later reinstated Savage and announced a match between Savage and Roberts for this Tuesday in Texas on December 3rd. Savage emerged victorious in that match, but afterwards, Roberts executed the DDT on Savage 3 times, leading to a climactic moment when Roberts slapped Miss Elizabeth. The feud persisted throughout the winter and concluded with a match on the February 8, 1992 episode of Saturday Night's Main Event, which Savage won. Savage then initiated a public rivalry with WWF champion Ric Flair, alleging that Flair had been involved with Savage's wife Miss Elizabeth in the past. Flair went so far as to provide photographic evidence of his alleged relationship with Elizabeth. The culmination of this feud came on April 5th at WrestleMania 8, where Savage emerged victorious, claiming his second WWF Championship title. It is worth noting that during this period, Savage and Elizabeth actually separated in real life. However, the animosity between Savage and Flair persisted, with WWF magazine publishing manipulated photos that appeared to show Savage and Elizabeth together, similar to the ones featuring Elizabeth and Flair. Eventually, it was revealed that Flair had tampered with the pictures. The former couple officially divorced on September 18th, with an announcement appearing in WWF magazine around the same time, which was a rare instance of breaking kayfabe for the WWF at that time. Throughout most of 1992, Savage and his longtime rival The Ultimate Warrior, who had made a return to the WWF at WrestleMania 8, coexisted peacefully. However, tensions resurfaced when it was announced that Warrior would be the new #1 contender for Savage's WWF Championship. Prior to their match, they had several intense exchanges. On August 31st, at SummerSlam, Savage defended his title against The Ultimate Warrior. Although Savage lost the match by countout due to a knee injury caused by Flair and Mr. Perfect, he managed to retain the championship. Following the match, Warrior assisted the badly injured Savage backstage. On the September 14th episode of Primetime Wrestling, which was taped on September 1st, Savage lost the WWF Championship to Flair with interference from Razor Ramon. After losing his title, Savage teamed up with Warrior under the name Ultimate Maniacs. Despite being injured, Savage supported Warrior in his quest to dethrone Flair. They faced Money Incorporated, Ted DiBiase, and Erwin R. Shyster for the WWF Tag Team Championship on the November 8, 1992 episode of Saturday Night's Main Event. Although Money Incorporated retained their titles due to a countout, Savage and Warrior were set to take on Flair and Ramon at Survivor Series on November 25th. However, Warrior was fired from the WWF before the event, prompting Savage to choose Mr. Perfect, Flair's executive consultant, as his new partner. Initially dismissing the idea, Perfect was provoked by Bobby Heenan's insinuations that he could never wrestle at his previous level. In the end, Savage and Perfect defeated Flair and Ramon via disqualification. When Monday Night Raw debuted in January 1993, Savage primarily took on the role of a color commentator. At the Royal Rumble on January 24th, he finished as the runner-up in the match, being eliminated by Yokozuna. Returning to pay-per-view on November 24th at Survivor Series, Savage substituted for Mr. Perfect. He also competed in the 1994 Royal Rumble on January 22nd, but was eliminated by Crush, which led to a Falls Count Anywhere match on March 20th at WrestleMania 10. In this match, Savage emerged victorious over Crush. Additionally, Savage made occasional appearances in Jim Cornette's Smoky Mountain Wrestling promotion in May and made his final WWF pay-per-view appearance on August 29th at SummerSlam, where he served as the Master of Ceremonies. Savage's last WWF match took place during a tour in Germany on September 13, 1994, when he teamed up with Bret Hart to defeat Owen Hart and Jim Neidhart in Rostock. As October 1994 came to a close, Savage's WWF contract expired, prompting him to sign with their rival promotion, World Championship Wrestling, WCW. Well, hopefully you enjoyed part 2 of the tragic tale of Randy Savage. Thank you for your time today, and I hope to see you again.